What's going on, guys? Stevie here with Lucky Crit, and as you could probably tell by the title of this video, this is going to be a discussion about the current state of Fire Emblem Heroes, and whether or not it's headed in the right direction, the wrong direction, or if the game is just straight up dying. Now, I think it's safe to say that the game is not going anywhere anytime soon. Obviously, the game just broke $400 million worldwide, which is an incredible milestone, and to be honest, I don't think Nintendo or Intelligent Systems ever expected that to happen. So to preface the rest of this video, I just want to say that I'm extremely happy about that fact, and I think that Nintendo definitely has to pay attention to Fire Emblem now at this point, and it can only mean good things for the series as a whole. It's definitely Nintendo's best-selling, most popular mobile game, at least for right now, and I think that that's going to lend to a lot more attention and effort put into future Fire Emblem installments. And so for that, I'm extremely happy. I wasn't really sure how long the Fire Emblem Heroes ride was going to last, but the fact that we're still playing it over a year and a half into its lifespan is pretty impressive, and the fact that I'm still paying attention to it, I still like the game, I think that that's absolutely great, so they've definitely done some things right. But over the past little while, I've been getting a lot of comments from you guys out there saying how disappointed you are with things, or just the fact that you're kind of losing interest in Heroes for a number of reasons. I've been getting a lot of those comments lately, and honestly, it's not a good sign for Fire Emblem Heroes, with the fan base not appreciating what's happening. And I do think that in some regards, they are going down a pretty bad path as far as some of the choices that they're making and things that they're implementing right now. So right here today, I've boiled it down to 5 points as to why I think this game is kind of going in the wrong direction, or fans are just not having as much fun as they used to. Obviously, there's probably a couple more. I'm sure some of you guys will share your insights in the comment section below. But for me, there's 5 points. So let's get into it. Point number 1, lack of interesting or standout modes. Now, let me be the first to say that I'm extremely happy with all the new modes that we've gotten in the game, as far as with them experimenting and new modes coming out here and there all the time pretty much. I remember when Tap Battle was first introduced, and I was kind of on the fence about it and a little bit disappointed, to be honest with you, because I thought that was going to be the new breakout mode of the game, and that was going to be all we would see for the next while as far as modes, and I really felt at that point like that just wasn't going to cut it. It was an interesting mode, I was excited to test it out, but I just didn't think that that was the thing that Fire Emblem Heroes needed. So I'm extremely happy to point out that they have been consistently adding new modes to the game and new different ways to play, so I'm cool with that. I like that. But when it comes down to it, I mean, if we just think out and go through all of the modes that we've gotten: Forging Bonds, Rival Domains, Relay Defense, Grand Conquest. Do you love these modes? Are you excited every day to wake up and play Heroes, to play any of these modes? Heck, even Voting Gauntlet, Tempest Trials. Are you excited to play those? Are those fun to you? I mean, maybe they are, and if they are, then that's great. But I think for most of us, the way that we look at those modes, and all of this stuff in general, is it's just a grind. I mean, when a brand new Tempest Trial comes out, you instinctively know that you're going to have to grind 50k of that, at least, and then extra if you want extra feathers at the end of the event. And on top of that, you're going to have to do at least a couple daily matches to get those bonus points. At some point, it becomes a chore and a responsibility to deal with all of these different modes and all of this stuff. And I do want to say that I am happy that we do have multiple concurrent events right now in the game. I think that gives more for players to do. But the fact that they're all chore-like and not really that fun when it comes down to it, I think that's a really bad thing. And I think that Heroes still hasn't found its brand new mode for everyone to play and to really utilize all their characters and get the most out of the game. Because at the current moment, if you're anything like me, then you definitely have at least half of your barracks untouched, unused. I've built out most of my characters, but I'd be lying to you if I told you that I used most of them and I got around to using most of them. I still pretty much stick to the same tried and tested teams, maybe a team or two that I'm kind of playing with, tweaking, working on, experimenting with, but that's it. And so there's a lot of 5 stars, a lot of other units that are good and usable that I just never touch, because there just isn't a reason, or there's no mode that utilizes all those characters. I mean, even Grand Conquest, that does utilize a lot of characters, which is great, but it's just not, it's still not the mode. And even with a lot of these modes that we have gotten, they're pretty much just rehashes or revamps of other modes that are slightly tweaked or slightly different, which is cool for experimentation purposes, but none of these modes are great, and I think they require a lot of feedback or a lot of retooling or reworking just to get them to the point where they would be awesome, and I don't know that that's going to happen. And in the meantime, we're going to have to keep playing them and keep grinding them for all this stuff to make sure that we don't miss out on anything. And to me, that's not cool. I'm not a fan of that. I don't like that. I think relay defense is kind of the worst offender as far as this goes. It's fun to figure out the kind of puzzle of how you can get those points and keep everyone alive and stuff, but that just is not a fun mode at all. I don't think anybody would say that. I mean, if you enjoy it, that's great, but I'm pretty sure that I'm not alone when I say that most people do not like that mode and are not going to be sad if that mode disappears and never comes back. So yeah, that's my first point. I just think that Heroes still needs some kind of brand new mode where I'm not even sure. I just still think Heroes is missing some kind of a mode. It's missing something. There's got to be some other way you can interact with your characters, bring them to different maps. Maybe there's even some kind of a Tower of Volney type of situation where you're bringing your characters from floor to floor, but make it interesting. Make it actually different than what we've had before. Give us like treasure chests, stuff to unlock. Maybe bring a little bit more classic Fire Emblem into Fire Emblem Heroes. Maybe make it so that ninjas can unlock chests and have other side abilities that make them more worthwhile to bring around. Anything. Just anything different. Anything other than rehashing the same modes. I mean, come on. Grand Conquest is rival domains on a map where you can pick which one you want to go to and get certain bonuses. That's it. That's all we're looking at. And it's stuff like that that I think just isn't working, fundamentally. Point number 2. Very limited player interaction. There's really very few ways to contact other players and to work alongside them. I think voting gauntlets have been the best example that we've ever had. Working with friends, usually online, picking a team aside to join, working together, using your friends' units in your army to play those maps. That's fun. That's great. But there's still no way to talk to each other. We even have characters traveling back and forth to each other's castles, handing out feathers, basically, but no custom messages to send, nothing like that. And I realize the floodgate of potential issues that would open. But I still think that it would be cool to send somebody a message or a way to show them, hey, I got this brand new character. Hey, this is what I got. I achieved this. This happened. Some way of communication. And I also think, even if PvP is never added to the game, we need some way of working together with other players still. Some other mode. This is something that I talked about a long time ago in a different video, I believe with SageMaster. And the thought process that we had at that moment was, what if you had some kind of a raid boss where you controlled one character on that map, and your friends or other people online controlled the other characters? Obviously, you still had to cooperate on the player phase. Maybe there's some way of chatting or getting across what you're going to do to communicate. But still, you control one unit, you move that one unit, and you have to work together to try to figure out a way to beat that raid boss. Just anything, something like that, I think would be really, really cool. And honestly bring a little bit more excitement and fun into Heroes that it's missing right now. I do think that there would be significant issues with PvP if they were to try to add PvP to the game, but I still think that there would be some way of making it at least remotely interesting. And so, obviously I wouldn't want them to waste their money developing it and just have it not be good, but there's got to be a way to balance it and to make it interesting. Give incentive to go second or something like that, just some way. Or maybe it's less PvP and more of just a competition between two characters trying to do certain things on certain maps, reach certain points, get certain achievements. I'm not sure. Something. Point number 3. Lack of fairness when it comes to base stat totals and arena scoring. Now, I don't think that the base stat totals are messed up or anything like that. I think it's okay. They've been doing a good job of keeping stuff balanced. People always freak out that stuff is too broken or busted or going to ruin the meta, and I want to say most things don't really do that. The real problem is with arena scoring. There should not be a penalty for picking a ninja over an armor unit. I don't see the point of that. I think you should be enticed to bring any character that you want to bring, and you shouldn't be penalized for doing so. If you want to make it based on the skills that they have, the skill points, it's stuff like, this is a 300-point special that obviously scores higher than something else, fine. That makes sense at least to a degree, because then you could at least buff up your character's skills. But the fact that it's also built on top of a base stat total that certain characters are never going to reach is pretty bad. And it just encourages the arena to be all armored units, and that's not fun, I don't think, for anybody. Now, with these dual skills, it seems like they're trying to address that problem, but it's not enough, and it's a small band-aid, and honestly kind of a slap in the face at the same time. Instead of fixing the actual system behind the scenes for arena scoring, which they've attempted to do in the past, not to a large degree, but they did try at one point. But instead of just changing things behind the scenes, they're now selling us characters that have specific skills to fix this issue, and only minorly fix, because you're still losing your A slot. Maybe eventually they plan to roll out these skills as seals. I could see that happening. But I just still think that that's not the right way to go about it. And I think that this is not the best way to approach this at all. I also think that with the new arena changes, as far as having to eliminate enemy units with that one particular bonus unit, I don't like that. It's really fun on certain weeks when you have a great bonus unit that you're excited to use. Maybe if you just pulled a brand new banner character and you leveled them up in time. But even that in and of itself is a challenge too, because if you're anything like me, I like to wait for double SP to level up brand new characters. So usually I'll wait till Friday or Saturday. Obviously you can pick any day of the week and just slap a blessing on them and get double, and there's obviously valor skills and all that kind of stuff. But it just aesthetically doesn't feel right when I know that on a Friday or Saturday I can still be getting double the SP of whatever else I'm getting already. So it doesn't feel good to level characters during the week for me, unless I'm like super impatient or just really excited to play with a new character. So I don't like that. And the fact that those bonus units are stuck as those bonus units for the week, you have to kind of race. You're enticed to race to level them up and get them ready for arena instantly forced to feed them brand new skills and finish out and flesh out their kits, even though most stuff these days has pretty solid kits right out of the gate. I don't like that either. So I also think that we need extra bonus units, or like at least just another row of bonus units. And I also don't like the fact that it's the same for 2 weeks. You get the same set of bonus units for 2 solid weeks. So if you're in a good spot and you love the bonus unit, yes, you're going to be excited and happy for 2 weeks. That was me with Levitain, even though unfortunately I was working and I forgot it was a Monday and I missed out on an arena run for the second time. But I had a good arena week the first time with Levitain because I really like the character. I like using her. I built her out. So that's fun. But then when you get a bad week, you're looking at 2 bad weeks in a row. And that's already not fun. Arena's already not fun to begin with. It's a little bit better the fact that they brought it down to 5 matches instead of 7. But with the bonus unit crap, it doesn't make it any better. And to be honest, I dread doing arena every single week. I'm not excited to play it or test it out. And I think that that's also a problem. And I also don't want to come across as like I'm just not loving the game itself, because I love Fire Emblem. I love the actual core mechanics in the gameplay, so it's not that's really bogging me down. I think it's just knowing that every single week I have to do something, and that those things are just not very fun, and that's kind of the main problem. So yeah, I don't think that the dual skills are the way to go, and I'm kind of nervous with this introduction that things are only going to get worse from here on out, because they're just simply refusing to go behind the scenes and just rebalance it. And I'm not saying that my proposed solution is a perfect solution in any way, but I just really don't think that there should be any kind of difference or penalty between choosing between an infantry, a flyer, a cavalry unit, or an armored unit. You should get the same base points for whoever you bring, and that would at least encourage a wide variety of different units that you're seeing in arena. The good thing about the game in general is that you can make most characters good by giving them certain skills, putting them on certain teams, and I like that. I like that a lot, and I think they've done a good job of that. Even with power creep, all it takes is simply giving characters certain skills or waiting for their refinery upgrade. Things are okay as far as that goes. But I think that in general, the base stat scoring of arena needs to change, and dual skills are just not going to cut it. Point number 4. Less communication on behalf of intelligent systems and a samey content schedule. So I'm going to branch off for a second here. The game has made over $400 million, which is impressive. Very, very impressive. What is different today than last year, than at launch? Some different modes, more characters. As far as the content, when it's coming out, the schedule, the way that they do things, has any of that really changed? No. We've got more things going on at once, sure, a lot more stuff happening, that's fine, but with their whole methodology and with everything that they're doing, it's just not very different. And this is something that I kind of talked about with Cameron on the Fireside Emblem podcast. He disagreed with me, but I still hold strong feelings for this point. I don't think that they're putting enough of that $400 million back into the development of Fire Emblem Heroes. And obviously there's no way to know for sure. We never will. But just look at what we're getting. It's pretty much the same stuff that we were getting on day one. Maybe they're allocating more money to artists, voice actors. That's cool. That's great. Maybe to developing new modes. Who knows? But at the end of the day, I just don't feel like we're getting the kind of content and the quality of content that we should be getting from a $400 million game. So that's a tough point, but that's just honestly how I feel. Less communication. We are getting those calendars every month for the upcoming events, so we can kind of see what's coming, which I do appreciate. But overall, it does seem like Intelligent Systems has been very quiet in the past while. And I'm not really sure why that is, but I think that it would go a long way for them to communicate more, especially when it comes to fan complaints, fan issues with the game. Obviously, we can always send them feedback through the game, and I encourage you to do that if you do have strong opinions on anything, especially some of the topics that I'm talking about here today. But I just feel like there could be a better way. They could have an official Twitter or something like that that allows us to kind of tweet at them, message them, talk to them. Just another layer of being able to communicate and get our points across and our thoughts across, because I think that this game has the potential to be a lot better than it currently is. And I hope that that's clear in this video, because I do love this game. I know I'm being critical, but yeah, I just know that it could be better. At the very least, if they listen to the fans. So, just the content schedule in general just has not changed very much. Their modus operandi for the game, still very similar. New banner every couple weeks, new characters. Nothing's really changed or switched up, and I think that that's also kind of a problem, and it just becomes same old after a while. Think about it. Other gacha games, other mobile games, other games in general, have actual holiday events where something different happens, where you can do something different, where at least the scenery of everything changes. We've had the same castle backdrops we've been staring at since launch, which I think is kind of pathetic. Like, who wouldn't want to see like a spooky Halloween castle as your backdrop for the month of October? A snowy, wintry castle backdrop for the winter season. I just don't get it. I think that there's so much more they can do. They can create little story events. I know they do that with the paralog chapters, but really, at the end of the day, it's the same thing over and over and over again. Some little random dialogue about how they need money or something. They find whatever competition is happening, wearing the, Easter outfits or winter outfits. You beat them, the end. And I just don't, it's not cutting it. The story's not cutting it. It's not enticing enough. And I think that it's a grandiose task for them to have to write for so many different characters to keep Fire Emblem Heroes interesting. But something that I have noticed from other games like Grand Blue Fantasy is, at least for each event, they pick a handful of characters, a little subcast of characters for that event. And that's what that event focuses around. And I think that that is a great way to bring light to a lot of characters. And they've done this a little bit with the Tempest Trials and some of those plot details. And to be honest, I think I'm not alone when I say that some of that dialogue and that writing and those little snippets before Tempest Trials and after Tempest Trials, some of that stuff has been the best that we've ever gotten as far as plot or just dialogue in the game. So more of that. Some way of incorporating that. If we had, seasonal events or something like that, I think that would go a long way. The final point for today's episode is point number 5, Orb Droughts. Right now, we're in a little bit of an Orb Drought. Obviously, there are always new ways to get orbs coming out every couple of weeks, whether it's just via, new story chapters, new paralogs, whatever event is running at that time. But it really doesn't cut it. And right now, I think is a great example, too. We've got so many great and amazing banners, like, staring at us in our faces right now. And I honestly feel bad for F2P players that really, have their purse strings tight and are not going to spend any money, because those banners have got to be just such a slap in the face to them. Especially when you've got like 7 concurrent banners. Maybe that's exaggerating. Maybe we only have like 4 or 5 going on right now. But when there are 4 or 5 great banners happening at any given time, you're always in an orb crunch if you like multiple banners. Because you're going to want to spend on multiple banners and summon for those characters. And obviously that's their primary way of making money. So I get that that's not going to change. But at the very least, I think there needs to be more in-game orbs. I think they need to be given out at a little bit more of an increased rate. I don't think anything's going to go wrong with the game if they did that. People are still going to pull. Some people are still going to get nothing. Some people are still going to buy orbs. So I really don't see it as a major problem for them to just increase the amount of free-to-play orbs that they're giving out. I just think it would help a lot of stuff, because I know a lot of players that, will save up for a long time, try to summon for a banner or a character that they want, get disappointed when they don't get them or when things don't quite work out. And it's not going to be easy to get those players back when they're disappointed and they leave the game, they rage quit. And that's never going to be something that you can completely avoid, especially when it comes to gacha games and, RNG. But I do think that at least if they had the promise of knowing that there was going to be a decent amount of orb content soon, then they'll know that they can get back up on their feet more quickly. Now, they have had moments where this was fine. Over the summer at one point, I'm the type of person that usually does not save up over 100 orbs. It's pretty rare for me to get to that point. So over the summer, there was actually a moment where I had about 150, 180 orbs. So I think that's good. That is a good sign, because I don't save stuff up. Usually there's always some banner that I would like to summon on and grab, you know, either more merges for certain characters or whatever new character came out that I'm excited about. So the fact that there was a point in the last little while where I did have over 100 orbs that I was holding on to, that's a good sign. That's good. Keep that up. But I think like a time like right now, there's one banner giving out 1 orb a day. There's, you know, Tempest Trials is ending. Grand Conquest is here, but you don't get too many orbs from that. And there are other modes, obviously, to get some stuff from, but it's really just not a lot. And when you're looking at 20 orbs for a full summon, even if you go in and snipe a couple times, your orbs are gone in the matter of like 5 minutes if you've got 20 or 40 orbs. So it just, they're too easy to expend, and they're not that easy to get back. And so I think that's also another problem. So those are my top 5 points as to why I think Fire Emblem Heroes is not in the best place right now. But I would love to know your thoughts in the comment section down below. If you enjoyed this discussion video here today, do me a solid and slash that thumbs up down below. It really helps out the channel. If you haven't gotten subscribed to Lucky Crit yet, be sure to do so. And also be sure to follow us on Twitter if you want any news and updates, especially related to Fire Emblem Heroes. We've also got our own Discord server if you want to talk a little bit further beyond this video. Be sure to join that and check it out. Thank you so much for watching, and I will see you all in the next episode.